Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's session. And I am very glad that we will be discussing one way that you can be able to really skyrocket your career. And with me today, I have a special guest, and I'll give him an opportunity to just introduce himself. But before we do that, I'll just want to know in the comments very quickly, say hi. If you can see me, you can hear me, you can see my guest. And also, let's know in the chat where you are following us from or where you're joining this conversation from. If you're watching the replay, you'll still be able to get a lot of value. Just say hi also in the comments. It will be a great way to engage. So today I have a special guest to discuss the skill that I would say it's a like a secret skill that would really skyrocket your career. Bona Martin, how are you doing?
I'm very much okay. Thank you so much for hosting me. Nashukuru sana.
Karibu, karibu sana. So maybe a quick one. You can introduce yourself. Tell us what do you do, and then we can dive into today's conversation.
Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you for doing this because I wish I was able to get these kind of conversations going right when I was beginning my career. But I'm
Mhm.
super glad. My name is Martin Wanjama, and I wear many hats. But for today, allow me to introduce myself as the founder and the lead consultant of Link Up Solutions, where we provide solutions. We've tried to see what are some of the challenges that are facing people out here and just see how to provide solutions for that. And we've been doing that since 2011, so it's been quite a while. And I'm glad and excited just to come and share a little of what we've been able to achieve all these years we've been in existence. Thank you so much once again.
Interesting. If you started back in 2011, we equally started in 2011. Though at Career Point, the idea was conceived in 2010. We did some planning, and 1st January 2011, we opened our doors to the public virtually because we started off as a website. So, you mentioned about you wish someone or you had engaged in such a conversation when you're starting off your career. And here we are specifically talking about like Excel skills. From your own perspective, I don't know, what do you think is the reason why Excel is really underrated as a skill of career growth? When people think about career growth, maybe they will think about leadership, about management, and other kind of skills, and not necessarily Excel skills. Why do you think that is so?
Well, I think there has been a lot of misconceptions around the skill, and I'm speaking this with understanding of having interacted with people who are in the industry, number one, and some of those who are also training people, specifically in the tertiary organizations. There has been a lot of downplay of some of these skills that we use out here. And well,
Mhm.
I managed to be in the right place and at the right time. And this I credit to God because He just placed me where I needed to be, just to hear the right things. Because my mentor happened to be in a space where he was using Excel and he found some good content around it. Now, number one, just to answer that question, is that a lot of people have been downplaying it, and I don't blame them because of the lack of understanding of some of the features that this skill have. Excel. So a lot of the people, once they do the packages, they do the averages, the sums, and all that, they assume that you know what, we are now good, and that's all there is to it. But you get that little understanding, what I may call not knowing what you don't know. You are like,
Mhm.
I didn't know there's that. There's a lot of the feedback I keep getting when I'm interacting with a lot of professionals is that I thought I knew Excel until I interacted with you. Now I'm like, wait a minute. So it clearly means that people do not know what this tool is capable of. I was lucky to be able to hear, even if I was not trained immediately, at least I kept hearing that there's a lot more you can do with this thing. I was always asking myself, what is that can be done? So out of curiosity, that is how I got to grow. So I've also interacted a lot with IT professionals who keep telling
Mhm.
me that, you know what, in school we are told that Excel, just forget about it. There's nothing much to it. But it comes to the point of someone is downplaying it, but it is
Mhm.
comes at a very expensive cost, because as we are going to see, you're going to see some of the costs that I've just mentioned. So those are some of the challenges that make it an underrated tool. But for I'm glad that of late there has been a lot of understanding that people who are good in Excel are very good
Mhm.
professionals. They are good employees because they can be able to achieve a lot more than those who do not have that skill, and that can be backed up by a lot of HR professionals I've interacted with, both at a training level and even those who we have managed to work closely. And if you notice that even recently, CPA have even introduced a course whereby they are dealing with data analysis, and a lot of the time they are using Excel. So I'm glad that there's that awakening that there's something in this tool that we've been missing all this while. So since 1986, when Excel began, I think we've missed quite a lot, because Microsoft keeps saying that up to around only 5 to 10% of the people who are using the Excel skills up to optimal levels. All the others are just playing at the very beginning stages. Yes.
That is quite interesting. And I hadn't thought about it that way, because in my case, I did the packages. I learned about the packages when I was in high school.
Mhm.
So
Mm.
the computers were introduced when we were, I think, in Form 3, and we just did basics, Word. For Excel, we were just shown the average sum. You're good to go. Go to the next package. And as you say, when someone does that, they feel as if they know everything, or they are like, I'm good with Excel,
Exactly.
until you interact with someone
Mhm.
who is at a different level. And my first line
Mm.
of work, I remember I had gone to a school and someone had sold to them a reporting application. And when I looked at it, it was basically Excel, because it was Excel
Mm.
where you record the marks and then you're able to mail merge and create reports. And I was like, okay, you mean you can do all this beyond the sum and average
Mhm.
like that? Yeah. So I never thought about it. Just doing the packages, you feel as if you're good to go. So maybe if we go a little bit deeper, you can share how can mastering this Excel give a professional, someone who is already working, a competitive edge in the job market? Assuming, I mean, of course, maybe the field of accounts, finance, that would be very much appropriate. But just thinking about any random, maybe let's say someone who is a teacher, someone who is an IT technician, someone who is in HR, someone who is in procurement. How can mastering these skills
Mm.
really give you that edge?
Okay. Thank you for that question. It's a very good question. And one thing we keep saying and spreading is that investing in learning and understanding Excel becomes a personal investment. You see, when maybe an organization is paying for you, you have to take that very seriously, because
Mhm.
it builds you as a person. And number one benefit we keep saying is that it makes you indispensable. And I'll give an example. I once interacted with this HR professional who kept
Mhm.
saying that there is this person they really wanted to fire. Like yesterday, we just want the person to go, but they couldn't. Why?
Mhm.
This person is so good at Excel, they are giving you skills, data analytics, everything is just so on point that you're wondering, if I lose this person, am I going to get someone at that level? And of course,
Mhm.
it becomes a very difficult challenge. And are you going to get them at a cost you can be able to afford? So now, instead of sending the person away, you start sending them to skills, soft skills, how to handle people, and all this, just so that you continue maintaining this person in as much as you do not want them. So, gives you that level of just being indispensable because you are highly valuable. The other one is
Mhm.
that it boosts your productivity. I've worked in an organization whereby a report used to take a lot of time to just work on it. I mean, it would take hours. Someone would have to come very early. But
Mhm.
once you come in, you understand, takes a bit of time, yes, but once you understand and you're able to automate it, then it meant that you only need like 15 minutes or less of
Mhm.
just clicking a button, and the magic is happening. We keep saying it's Excel, not magic. I mean, when someone interacts with you or working on it, they realize, there's something unique in this person, and it becomes a very handy tool. So you're also able to help the other departments. So like if people are struggling, they know that you are the go-to person. So,
Mhm.
in terms of anything to do with they need assistance, who do they reach out to? So, it gives you visibility in the organization. People know that whenever you need this challenge, please addressed to so and so. And my mentor has given a lot of stories around that he could work on some of the projects that nobody else could present. So he started even attending board meetings way early in his career. And before you realize, you are out there, you are known in what you are doing. So it becomes very easy. So the other thing that helps you with that is that it is very versatile. It is not for a specific group of people within an organization. You're looking at a
Mhm.
situation whereby people tend to think that this Excel skill, could it be just for IT? And can I shock you? The people who are in IT, I've interacted with a lot more, and I'm sorry to say this because I know some of them are going to be watching. They are
Uh,
very green. And I have given a reason because I asked some of them, I thought Excel and you guys in IT are supposed to be very good friends. But they keep saying
mhm.
that, no, we were told that there's nothing here. So they miss out on the opportunity. So it gives you that, puts you in a position whereby you're able to assist other people and
Mhm.
you get really good visibility. So that is very critical. So just trying to solve some of the organizations' problem. I remember one of the challenge that was in an organization I've worked with, it took
Mhm.
years to try and crack what was the challenge. But I mean, I was just even seated somewhere. I wasn't even too keen to even try and sort it out. But I was just playing with the data. I realized, wait a minute, this could be the problem that has been facing us for quite a long time. And we're able to solve that. And I mean, when such kind of news spread, everybody knows. And who doesn't want to be in that position where you're being heard that you're the one who's providing solutions, that if something is so difficult, kila mtu ameshindwa, then go to Martin and Martin is going to assist you. So mastering that skill will give you that competitive edge. And of course, if word goes out there that you're good at data, I mean, it's an area where not so many people are really interested in crunching the numbers and all that. So if you can be able to assist, I've seen a lot of post people saying that they open Excel and they freeze. They don't know what am I supposed to do with this. So just
Mhm.
getting that understanding is like being able to crack a challenge that not many people are able to. Then it gives you that competitive edge. That one I can assure you, as a professional, as someone who's interacted with it, as someone who has benefited from this with a lot of assurance, I can guarantee that to all our people who are
Ah,
watching.
awesome. 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 I want to just pause and say thank you very much. I can see some people already joining us. We have Lillian all the way in Bomet County. Welcome. I can see there's Muse in Nyandarua. Welcome. Sharon in Rongai saying she's on board. Nathaniel joining us in Nakuru. And I'm usually very happy to see people joining us all across the board or all around the country. So without necessarily having like a physical meeting where they come and they're able to learn.
Mhm.
So feel free to let me know also in the chat where are you joining us from. If you have any question, our guest will also be responding in regards to career growth and Excel per se. That would be good. Oh, thank you. I can see Caroline, you're there. Now, let me just get to know from you. There are certain, of course, as you say, Excel is a very versatile skill, and you can be able to use these skills irrespective of the field that you're in. But there are certain fields that or industries that heavily rely on Excel or data analytics. And how can a professional try to align themselves with this field so that they can really grow? And for example, there's someone who just is starting off their career. They don't know how, where yet to maybe position themselves. What would you say are the top industries or career fields that heavily rely on these advanced Excel skills?
Okay, thank you also for that question. And I wish to just mention something and thankful to all the people who are joining us. So there's one aspect that I personally have a huge interest in people who are starting off their careers, and I keep asking myself, what are some of the opportunities that we have, just to talk to them and encourage them, because there are certain spaces of or time that you find that someone is finding like everything is so dry. I'm applying jobs, they're not working. But question is, what are you doing at that point? Are you taking advantage of that time to prepare for the time when the job actually comes? Because you never know where you land. They keep saying that if you do a degree, you are like just almost in a supermarket somewhere. You're basically the same. So you could land anywhere in some of the fields that we are just about to mention. But I liken this example with David from the Bible. there is this time where nobody knows where he is. He's in the field, not in a place where he's recognized, but he takes
Mhm.
advantage of that time to hone his skills and to make sure that whenever an opportunity comes, I'll just for sure grab it, and everybody will be able to notice me. And that's the same thing that we have here. That time where you feel like I'm not getting jobs, that time you look for it, at some point you won't get it. You never know. So there, to answer that question on which are some of the sectors where it is heavily relied upon, one, I will say everywhere there is data. So data is being generated from every kind of corner, including the fridge in your house, TV, and all that. Everything is generating the data, but there are those specific areas and industries. Maybe I may not call them industries, but certain roles whereby Excel will work in are very handy. Of course, people in banking, that is like their daily bread. I'm sure that there's a time we were discussing and we were saying that how often do you use Excel? And these are some of the questions we keep asking people whenever we are going to go and train guys. And they'll tell you that this is every single day I have to open. I mean, at any given point, I have an Excel open. So the banking industry heavily relies on that. There is a lot of improvement in terms of new systems and all that, but Excel never goes anywhere, and that is one of the guarantee that I got. Of course, guys also in insurance are also heavily using Excel, and the beauty of
Mhm.
it is that it creates like a blank template for you can be able to create anything. You see, for systems you have to develop, it has to do these specific tasks and all that, but for Excel it's just open, you can create anything at any time, be it just a short project and all that. So those are some of the key areas that it is heavily relied upon, but then it does not end there, including people who are now doing the a lot of the online marketing. People are into sales, people are into manufacturing. They are very keen to be able to use this data. And how do you crunch those numbers? So the systems that we use, they are going to maintain the data, but at some point, why do they keep asking you export to Excel, export to Excel? It keeps meaning that it does not address all your problems. So you have to export the data so that you go and use it there. So those are some of the areas. And of course, the other people who use it a lot, and they are my very good friends, HR professionals. You may think that, even when you're choosing your career, HR is theory and all that. I'll not be dealing with numbers, but shock on you, there are a lot of numbers that goes into HR. For example, even understanding how do you hire, and I'll keep referring to my mentor because he's been very handy in terms of holding in my hand. So I'll be giving some of the examples he's given. He was
Mhm.
working in one of the banks, and there's a time they opened quite a number of branches after he did a very deep analysis just to see what are the people doing when they come to work. And he realized that he was able to advise the organization to open like 5 additional branches without hiring new staff, just by relocating the guys after understanding what exactly people are doing, and it comes in very handy. So I would say that it is all industries, but then there are those key ones that we've mentioned that heavily rely on that. But I would say it's more role based. So looking at people who are into accounting, the finance guys, even within HR, there are specific areas whereby they are going to rely on them. But because even in organization I've worked, I get questions from everybody, including the people in the security department. You are wondering, do they also use Excel? You find people in certain departments coming and wanasema, hata huyu bado ako na mashida za Excel. So those kind of questions, meaning that it cuts across all roles and all positions. So regardless of what it is, but of course, those that I've mentioned are just some of the few that heavily rely on it. Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
I like the way you put it. It cuts across, though a key thing is if there's data, you are engaged with using data, it is going to be something that is going to be important. And with the trend in the market nowadays, in the labor market or job market, I don't think you
Mm,
can really run away from data. Data is what is being used to make
mm,
decisions, as you
mm.
say,
True.
from security to marketing to anything. As long as you can be able to support an argument or a point with numbers, then you're good to go. Yeah.
Yes.
So I just want to
Mm.
say thank you. I can see Nganga who is joining us in Nairobi, following through in Nairobi. Somebody asked a question, hi, how can I get in touch? I'll let you know in a short while. I think you can also think about this question as say asked about ICDL course. I think it is
Okay.
something to do with the international computer driving license. How does it
Yes.
come in handy? Maybe you can think about that. We'll still come
Okay,
to your
sure.
questions. Feel free to drop them in the comments. What I want is maybe to you can share with us. Do you have a story or an example of someone who used Excel to land a job or even get promoted from your own interaction with people who have maybe you have trained them on Excel and then, yeah, it ended up helping them get a better job without maybe necessarily
Okay.
mentioning names. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to get permission to to share the specific names.
Yes.
But well,
Yes.
I have this example. I have this example of this friend of mine who actually said, you know what? I don't want the full course. I just want just be training me on very specific areas. I don't want everything. I want just these specific areas. And he mentioned automation. I was like, but how can you know that? And it was like, no, I just want that specific one. He was in the telco. And
Mhm.
with the telco, of course, you know, they deal with a lot of data. So he would come and attend a 30 minutes class and that. And within a very short time, he told me, you know what? I was able to automate one, two, three. And I actually got a promotion out of it. I was like, wait a minute, I'm not even getting promoted where I am, and I know all these things. And just a few things you've learned here, and you're getting promoted. I was like, wow, I'm so happy for you, but also envious that you've gotten to that level. That is one key example that I always remember. About landing jobs, I can assure you, people keep asking, can I get someone like you? I'm like, okay, it becomes a tricky question because you do not want to just recommend someone because he's your friend. You need to know that they're actually really good. So I know there's that aspect that people keep saying, oh, hakuna makazi, but I can assure you, if you are good at it, and maybe here I'll mention someone by the name James Karundu, who also does a lot of coaching of people. And there's something that he said that stuck in my mind. Yeah. And he
Mhm.
said this that if you can spend 10,000 hours in anything, you become an expert in it. It's like,
Uh-huh.
wait a minute. So if I can spend this, and for me it took a bit, maybe I'll also get an opportunity just to share what my story to where I've gotten to, because I struggle to answer that question. People always want to know whenever I do a training, they're like, wait, where did you learn this? I mean, where were we? And all that. So I'll be able to also respond to that. And I realized that if you can spend time around here, then that means you can easily benefit from that. So there are so many examples. Another one, and it was even a simple one. We just assisted someone do a small task, and the boss was so happy. They were told, "Can you take 3 days off? Just go relax and just go enjoy. We are so happy with what you've done." And there are so many more other stories. I being here as well, I've really benefited a lot. Well, I thought Excel would be the one to make me maybe board my first flight, but shock on you, it was just Microsoft Word that got me into a KQ flight to go and train guys out there. And they were like, wait, we also need Excel. Can you also come and train us? So there are so many opportunities around that. It may not necessarily be the specific thing that sells you, but the moment you
Mhm.
get there and people know, then you can be sure that about being promoted and just being recognized in what you do, that one will just come out automatically. Remember, I mentioned about being indispensable. So that one you have to remember. So those are some of the stories. I'm sure with more time, I could even share a lot more examples. But there are so many opportunities, guys. If you're able to just be good at this skill, just be
Mhm.
guaranteed. Even if you have the worst boss, they'll have to recognize that you're doing a good job. Thank you.
Ah, awesome, awesome, and I really like that, and the fact that you also talked about automation. Somebody wanted just to automate stuff, and with Excel they were able to really automate. And one thing I've also learned about Excel is that you can just create a simple template that the only thing you need to do is just to keep on adding data to it, and it does the magic behind the scenes, as you say. Yeah, the Excel does it. Talking about automation with the AI as a also emerging tool, is Excel still relevant in the future job market? Because we know AI can be able to automate some stuff, or it can be able, especially what we are exposed to is a lot of generative AI, creating content and all that. How or where does Excel skills stand in the future of work?
Okay, a very good question, and I'm sure people are really waiting for this answer. And well, I'll be very bold in answering this because when I was venturing into this, I mean, I've interacted with people in the US who purely just deal with Excel, and I kept asking, okay, aren't they afraid that something new will come up and it's going to maybe like spoil their jobs and all that? Let me give the assurance here without any doubts that what AI does is only going to make you better at what you do. Okay, so what happens is that it's not coming to replace Excel as a tool, and we've seen many other tools come up. I mean, none has come to close to replacing Excel. And maybe at this point I can even give a few statistics. They are saying that globally, all the companies, we have like about 63% using Excel as their core tool, like when it comes to number crunching. Wait, now when it comes to using it, why is it that it is user friendly? Well, people already have an understanding to it, because even if you prepare data using the other tools that are there, very powerful. I mean, like you have the likes of Python and all that. At some point, you're going to have to present data. How do you again present it? So that is where Excel is going to always be there. So I can give that assurance that it does not replace Excel. And I'll give an example. Someone recently was telling me that they have like, was it like 200 sheets that they needed to combine? They were like, how do I combine this? They are not tech savvy in terms of go this, create this automation and all that. I told them, just go to ChatGPT, type how to create this macro that does 1, 2, 3. And what does it do? So it helps you actually make the use of Excel easier. And she was like, you know what? Initially, I would have paid a lot of money for you to teach me that, but now I'm able to do a lot more of that with a lot of ease. But where do you do that? Again, on Excel. So it's not coming to replace Excel as a tool, but it's only come to make it better. And you will realize that over time, there are many tools that Excel is creating, and it's also adding the other aspects of AI into it. For example, one of the challenges when people are using data, they tend to assume that, an Excel sheet only has about 1.04 million rows. Question is, what if I have more data? They will be like, I think I need other tools. Now, let me tell you, you can be able to handle even our 100% of the data that is going over 40 million rows of data on Excel, because it has new features that keep coming on board all the time, so that it is able to handle data just the same way a database would be able to handle that. So you can be assured that it is not going anywhere. Partly because some of this, remember I said that it gives you a clean slate of how to do things. So AI just comes to make it better and easier for you to be able to do that. So I think that's what I may say. With around, I think I was just checking and seeing that there are close to 1.2 billion users. So what is that specific AI tool that is coming to replace Excel? So it can only come to make it better. So you can be assured that if you are immersing yourself in learning this, it gives you even a very good platform to learn the other better skills. I'm not dissuading anyone from advancing to the other technical skills, but like Python and the other AI tools that are there that help in crunching of the big data. And I mean, it's something we cannot run away from, but it gives you already a platform to be better. So it's always going to be helpful. There are some tools that you use concurrently with Excel. There are some that Excel is better at doing it than the other tools. And of course, organizations are looking at what is the cost of investing this. You see, when you invest in Microsoft, it gives you a suite, a package of many things. So that's why you find a lot of the organizations still heavily relying on Excel. And remember, not everyone wants to be a data scientist to go to those other levels. So Excel is always going to be there. So yes, you can crunch your numbers, but in terms of presentation, you find a way of bringing it. So let AI not be a challenge to think that it's going to come and replace to replace Excel. It's an assurance I got from some of the world leaders when it comes to Microsoft Excel, and people who've really seen it from the inception up to where they are. Some of whom who have retired, and I keep saying that when I go to the US, I'll have to go and meet one just to interact and also appreciate, because we've learned a lot from them. Thank you.
Yeah, and that is very, very powerful. AI will not replace most of the good things. It's only that it's going to make people better at what they're already good at. And the
Mm,
thing is, if you are at the bottom, can I say set, or in terms of the skill set, you're the one who's going to suffer, because someone who is already good at it and they have used the AI to even advance in that area, they will kick you out of a job if you're just mediocre
exactly.
on any skill. May
Exactly.
it be Excel, may it be whatever it is, any other skill.
Mm.
So good to be good at a certain skill and then enhance it with AI. And I like the way you captured that. I think our time is, we are still in a good time. We are welcoming any questions from my end. I have two more questions, then we'll be able to tackle questions from our guest. And then if we have still have time, we can get to know a little bit about your story, how you ended up in this idea of Excel. I know there are so many things you can do with Excel. I want maybe from your side, what do you think is some one of the coolest thing that you have ever done with Excel that most people might not know that it is possible to do with Excel, or people previously you didn't know, oh, how can I do this? Then you realize, oh, Excel can do it.
Okay, a very good question with very good answers loading. So there's just quite a lot of things that personally I've managed to do. And if I want to annoy people, I keep telling them that, do you know that I'm still a beginner at Excel? They're like, wait, what are you telling us? Are you like abusing us, or what? What are you up to? Because I mean, you're so good at it, but why do you say that you keep considering yourself a beginner? And I keep saying it's like learning how to paint. I mean, does it mean that you've painted everything you can paint? I mean, I've seen people who are developing games that can be played on Excel using combining with other tools, and you even choosing a gun to shoot and all that. So personally, I think one of the best things that I've been able to do, especially, is around communication and dynamic communication, to be specific. You mentioned something about mail merge, but there's a way that Excel captures it, and maybe here I have to give credit to my mentor. Maybe at this point I can just mention him. His name is Gabriel Nyamu. He's apparently in India. Maybe story for another day, or story at the end, because I want to credit this session to him.
Mhm.
That he taught me something small. He was running a small chama, and the way he was managing it, he was using Excel, and he showed me this technique that he could click a button and it would send PDF attachments on Outlook. I was like, wait, how do you even do that? He showed me just for a few minutes. I was like, wow, that's interesting. Well, I didn't get to understand it at that point. And if there's something that has been of importance to me that I've learned, is that concept, because I've used it over and over again. I don't think there's a day that goes without almost using it almost on a daily basis. And being able to send dynamic emails from Excel, combining it with Outlook, that was powerful, because it has helped me to work for some organization and build for them systems. They are using that, and maybe one of the government organizations that purely run on that, in terms of when it comes to invoicing people, when it comes to sending out receipts. And it's something I'm always super proud of. I may not mention the name here, but a click of a button sees thousands of emails go in the right manner to the right people. I mean, it's just super beautiful. The other thing, maybe it's just a story I want to give at this point, and it was one this department that I was working. They were in a certain organization, and there was this report they kept doing. It used to take a lot of time, and I kept wondering, I can't there be something which is better that can be done with this? And we sat with them like a week, and we came up with a solution. And from there, things became so easy for them. They start enjoying it, and in fact, it actually now gave me kind of a purpose around it, where I keep saying that I'm enhancing your life by teaching you Excel. I was like, how do you connect that? That means now you can have weekends Weekends you did not have. Now you're going to have them because you have a skill. If the boss expects you to complete something in like 2 days, you're able to complete it within a very short time, and then you have family time. You have only so there's a lot of benefit that I've personally gotten. I've also helped so many professionals over the years. You can imagine I've taught in the thousands of professionals. And even abroad, some of whom consider me as their mentor. I mean, and I'm super proud to be able to assist people in these areas to just improve their lives. If I'm able to help you better your life in terms of improve your job, because growing up is this one question I kept asking myself: what do people go to do in the office? I was like, wait, I need an answer. I didn't get an answer until I got a job in a consulting firm where we went and were interacting with professionals. Then I started asking myself, Yani, that is what they go to do in the office. People say that this is the job they do, but I don't think I envy that. And from there, we started coming up with solutions to ensure that within a very short time, they are able to solve some of those problems. So something that would take you hours now is taking you seconds. And people are happy. I mean, it improves people's lives. People say if you want to make people happy, sell ice cream. I'll dare say that if you want to make people happy, teach them Excel.
Awesome, awesome. I really like that. I really like that. My final question from my end, then I haven't seen much from the audience, but just to maybe let them know that if you have any question, we are getting to the tail end. Probably we'll be closing in the next 10 minutes. Feel free to drop any questions you have in the comments, and we will get to answer them in a short while. So with that, let me hear from you. I don't know, what is the biggest myth that people need to stop believing when it comes to Excel? Because I know there's that idea that people might feel it's not for them, but from your own interaction, what is the biggest myth that people need to stop believing about Excel?
Thank you, and I think partly we've managed to answer this question
Yeah.
from the earlier questions. For example, that Excel is it's an IT skill, it's an IT course. Uh, I mean, I can tell you for a fact that it is not. Because are you going to be sending to IT everything that you need done? No. If you are the one who needs something to be done, whether you are the CEO and all that, I mean, whether you are the head of a unit, there are times that you have to actually do it yourself. So it's not necessarily an IT course, and that's something that we really need to demystify, and that it is a skill for everybody. In fact, one of the things that I aspire to teach my kids is to be able to teach them some of these skills as early as now, just to start telling them, can you maintain your marks in a certain manner? Are you improving? Where are you going at? Those are some of the things we need to start looking at. They start appreciating these things so that when they are growing up, it doesn't come as a shocker. There are people who open Excel and they're like, their minds go blank. So that's one of the myths that we really need to break. So the other one is that Excel is just for basic data entry, just people who it just handles basic tasks, just type names and all that. There is a lot more, and maybe at this point, maybe we'll have another separate session where we can even delve into practical illustrations, just to have people get a taste of what is it that we are discussing about. Today's session may not be enough to just really demonstrate that, but I wish we could have a session where we go deeper and show practical examples, and people start getting this understanding that it's not just for basic tasks. You can really do very serious data analysis from it. The people will say that, oh, I have SPSS. Excel is able to do a lot more of that. So those are some of the myths that I keep saying. The other one is that Excel is difficult. I'm like, wait, it's not difficult. It is here to make the work much easier for you. You just need to
Yeah.
understand very basic knowledge just to have a good foundation. And maybe I'll say at this point, because a lot of the people I've interacted with, their learning has come from I learned VLOOKUP from this person, VLOOKUP from this other person. Someone is just teaching you, teach and bit of things here and there. So you do not have a very good foundation around it. But what I can assure you, if you get a serious professional who is actually training in the right way, because that's another
Mhm.
challenge maybe we need to discuss, is that there are those challenges that if you have a good foundation, then you realize, it is not as difficult. So I don't need to teach you everything for you to have that good understanding. And the other one I'll also mention is that not every skill or training being sold out there as advanced Excel skill is advanced. That one I have
Mhm.
to repeat. That don't hear people saying that, oh, we are training advanced Excel, then you rush there to ensure that you're also learning this advanced Excel. Can you please do your due diligence? Because people have had stories, very reputable organizations, but people say, I went to the training for day one, day two, I could not go there. It was a waste of time. So you better be very careful with the people you are interacting with in terms of those people who are saying that they're actually training. So not every advanced Excel training is actually advanced. You'd rather do your due diligence, talk to people like Link Up Solutions to even ensure that the kind of people you are hiring are actually trained, because every time we ask people in an interview on a scale of 1 to 7, how good are you in Excel, and people say 7. I'm like, okay, that's so good. But you ask 1, 2 questions, you are wondering, Allah, what does a 7 mean for you? Because it's not like it's making sense. I mean, I don't consider myself a 7. I'm so glad to hear that you are a 7. Maybe you have a lot to teach me, and then you realize that there's a lot more of that. So don't just buy into people saying that they are good just because they can do VLOOKUP. You better be keen just to ensure that people really understand that. Of course, some of the other challenges is the same way. I keep saying the same way I can do automation to do good, I can also use it to do bad. So there are a lot of viruses that would come in as a form of automation. Just the same way I can automate and have the macro or the automation do good things, then it could also mean that I could also instruct it to do bad. So, but that does not mean that we do not venture in the automation. So please use it, but of course with caution. Of course, with the help of IT, they're able to check whether the automations are right, and especially those that are inbuilt, you can be sure that they're doing the right things. I keep saying that when macros are running, they don't apologize. So you better be clear about that. But when it comes to automation, please go for it. Once I was able to get a good grasp of automation, then it became a game changer in terms of my work life. I said I have many hats. Just became a game changer. And I'm the type that you remember Steve Jobs saying that if you want something done, you hire a lazy person. That
Mhm.
lazy person he was talking about was me, because I always want to see how can I automate this. I only say that automation, the only thing Excel cannot automate is cooking ugali.
Yeah, interesting, interesting. So I think you've mentioned some things which are good, and I can see more questions and comment coming in, which is great. So I think we will plan for a short live demonstration of what Excel can do. Yeah. So if you're watching us and would like us to organize for Martin to come in and just demonstrate some of the things he's talking about, what you can do with Excel, let me know in the comment. Just say yes, 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 yes. If you would want us to have a live session here with Martin, just showing us about Excel and just a short demonstration, let me know in the comment. Just say yes. And yeah, we have an overwhelming yes, we will have one. Maybe check a question. I think this is we say asked about the course ICDL, and the context was saying sometimes someone will do the packages, and then after doing the packages, they think they are good to go when it comes to Excel. I don't know. What is your take if someone is doing the ICDL course?
Thank you for that question, Mandela. And I'm not up to date with the current updates. I'm sure they've updated a lot of some of the skills, but the one I interacted with at the point, I'm not sure how far they've gone up to right now. It created a very good foundation in terms of Excel. But I can assure you, there's a lot more. Remember, even with me and with all that experience I've gathered, I still consider myself a beginner. I'll use this sparingly because there's still a lot more. Because remember, Excel is for everyone. It has engineers functionalities in it. Does it mean that I've interacted with everything there? No, because I don't have to interact with everything. And I keep saying you do not need to learn 95% of the Excel to be able to be good at it. What you do is that a very small portion, if you are around 30 and a solid 30%, forget about these other seven people are saying. If you are a solid 30%, you can survive the working environment comfortably. So if you can just go a step more ahead, so I would say ICDL is very good foundation, but you better go and do an actual course of advanced Excel. What you do is that whenever you're going for a training, ask for the course content. Just go through it. You can be able to see that there's a lot more that is featured. And of course, there are now other specialization when it comes to, for example, data modeling. When it comes to handling statistical data. I mean, that's the specialization around that. So you can even specialize in certain areas so that you're not just focusing on just general issues. So what I'll say about that question is that ICDL gives you a very good foundation, but you should not stop at that. You still can go way above that and be able to see that there's a lot more that you can be able to do.
Awesome, awesome. I think the rest are just great comments I am seeing here. So Peter Mongare saying, after interacting with Martin, I realized Excel can do anything. Best teacher. Thank you very much. Also, Lillian saying, I'm getting to know that Excel is more than I know. Nathaniel there say, yeah, you want us to do the demonstration. That would be great. So if you want us to do the demonstration, just say yes. Moses Otieno, such a powerful conversation. Thank you. I really appreciate. I see Beth Omondi joining us in Nairobi. Karibu sana. We are on saying hi. This is good. Can you please explain how to get a job with UN and international organization? What skill set? Okay, good. I have done another session. I think here on YouTube, if you search how to get a job with the UN and international organization, you can be able still to get that. But not to throw you under the bus, there are different skills that you might need to have depending with which career path that you want to follow. Feel free to get in touch with me. Share with me your CV or just on WhatsApp. I can post my number. I think it's somewhere here. Just WhatsApp me. How do I put it somewhere here? Yeah, there. Then I can get in touch with you and we can talk even further. Share with me your CV. Tell me the kind of roles that you're looking out for. But for today's session, that is not what we were looking for. But just take that screenshot, get in touch with me. I think there is a question I had seen. Yes. Oh, Benson also saying, joining us in Bumbululu, Mombasa, saying yes, wants to know how we want to also have the demonstration. Yeah, we'll be able to do that. I also saw a question from Maureen. I think, Maureen, we have been in touch with you, but feel free also to, if you are planning to give me a call, probably tomorrow morning. In the evenings, I don't take much of the phone call, but if you WhatsApp, we can be able to talk more. I think what I would say, you work with linked up solutions. Yes, Mr. Martin. How can people get in touch with you if they want more about link up solution and they would want to grow? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And maybe or just to point out on something, there's one very basic skill that is, well, a lifesaver that I'll just mention. People, can you learn how to type fast? You find people just doing a brief email, mtu anashinda hapo. There are some who, I don't know, they are cooking chapatis on the keyboard. You're like, what are you doing? So I'll advise another skill on top of that, because that cuts across. Whether you're doing Excel or you're doing an email, we're communicating, learn how to type it. Maybe you need another forum for that. But how to get in touch with us? Link Up Solutions. I'm sure you've posted it there. You can just go to our socials. You're going to our email is posted there. If you just go to Facebook and search for Link Up Solutions, you're going to see us there. And of course, we have a YouTube channel where we've not posted a lot of the content, but we're thinking to add more of the content, because we believe that there's so much out there. But whenever you search for content, it's usually abroad, the Indians, the who are really good at it. But can we get our own people who can even speak the Swahili? They can speak your language, and we are going to be championing that. And even the people we train, we're going to be encouraging them to just ensure that they are posting content out there, so that it's not just always things that are coming from abroad. So if you just search for Link Up Solutions, you're going to find us there and get our contacts in terms of email and so on, so that we can be able to work together. If you want us to come and train people in your organization, we are comfortably able to do that, and you'll greatly benefit from learning and understanding this skill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we are really happy. Clara saying that this was an eye opener in terms of the skills that you can, or what you can do with Excel. Thank you very much, Clara, joining us in Nairobi. Sharpa, you have sent it. Good. Let's get in touch on. We'll keep talking and see the best way to assist you. I think that has been our time. Maybe I can give you 2 or 3 minutes as you share with us your parting shot and share a bit of your story. How did you end up with this Excel stuff? And then you can give us your parting shot. Then we can be able to call it a day.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for this session. As I said, I have a very huge passion when it comes to just talking to people who are launching off their career. I've interacted with people who are at the beginning. I've also interacted with people I've trained people who have already retired. And they're like, I wish I met you 20 years ago, because the suffering I went through those 20 years, it would have been much easier had I known you. And I've interacted with a lot more people. I've seen a comment from Sospita, some of the professionals we've interacted with, and I've been able to mention. And maybe just to mention something I forgot to mention, the other specialties that you can go into. For example, you can just do financial modeling, and it is a huge area that you can venture into. Well, what is my story? Remember, and maybe another thing I need to mention as I give my story is that people, if you do not have a job, do not fear volunteering. Go for that volunteer. As long as you're able to find a way to survive, please go for that, because that got me here. How did that happen? I went back to my high school where I was actually learning. And that is where I went and started learning Excel. Just opened a blank Excel, and I was like, wait, how do you go about this? Luckily, I had a very good mentor. I mentioned Gabriel Nyamu. As we speak, he's in India. I said I'll mention about him. And he's in India because the kid is sick, and we are trying to support. In fact, this Saturday there's a walk. But if you just for online, just search for Love for Leslie. Love, then number 4, Leslie, you're going to see. But he's the guy who's managed to hold my hand and ensure that I've become a serious professional. I've had him say that he's been very proud of what we've achieved together, and the person I became in terms of just holding someone and becomes someone who is very good at what he does. So he just through the interacting with that data, actual doing it, not just learning, actually doing it, he would now guide me. Remember, he was not there like every day, but I mean, he would give you notes, guide you. And then when I was done with school, then I went and started working under him as we were going to train people in organizations. And a lot of people were thinking that, hey, this is the junior trainer. What they didn't know is that at some point I was also learning. As they are learning, I'm also learning. And within a very short time, one very funny incident happened that he was not able to go and train. I was like, wait. But I kept asking, can I get 5 minutes? I think I have something I can train. 5 minutes. But I was thinking my content can only last for 5 minutes. Apparently, he said, no, you have been asking for 5 minutes. Now you have 2 hours. I was like, wait, how can I? These are people in the bank. What do I tell them? And I learned that whole day. I wrote so many notes. And then the following day when I got to class, apparently I had forgotten my notes. So it was me there with my 5 minutes, and I'm expected to deliver for 2 hours. How it happened, I don't know. I keep saying God somehow just saw me through it because the 2 hours were over. I was like, I think I had a lot more. I just start being thrown to the deep end, ensure that I really needed to go to the deep end. It's like being thrown to the swimming pool. Are you going to die there and say, you know what, I don't know how to swim, so I'm just going to relax here and wait for whatever is going to happen? No, I had to go in there and do a lot of studying. It took me about 8 months just to try and study and understand this, watch this YouTube and all that, get to enter in the classes where Gabriel was teaching and just be able to immerse myself into it. And out of that, and a lot of helping people. I keep saying my generosity helped me because as I'm training others, as I'm trying to solve their problems, they kept making me better. So wherever you are, even the little that you know, can you start teaching people before you realize you're going to really help yourself? Because by the time the fifth person is coming to get assistance, you realize, this is the first problem. In fact, I had already automated it. Can you take this solution? Yes, so this talk today, I dedicate it to Gabriel and the 10-year-old who is really fighting with this rare condition. She needs like 16 million. So that's this Saturday, that's what we are going to be focusing on, just to see. I invite you, Daniel, and every other person who is watching. Let's come to Karura at 8 a.m. We go and walk and ensure that Leslie lives to tell a story. They are back there in India together with her parents. So I dedicate this talk to her. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. I really appreciate, and our hearts and our prayers with Gabriel Jamu and Leslie. I would pray that she will be able to be well and tell the story, as you say, and support. There's a walk
Mm.
starting in Karura, yeah, this Saturday. So if you have
Yeah, yeah.
time, I'm sure you show up there. I really appreciate. Thank you very much. Can we have a round of applause to our guest today, Martin? Veronica Mwangi saying thank you very much. Benson Pate saying also thanks. I really appreciate that. I think your points also were quite also in line with the Sharma, who is searching for a job. As you say, yeah, don't be afraid to volunteer and help as much as I really appreciate. Thank you, everybody. Make sure that share this conversation widely. If you found it helpful, probably someone else will find it helpful. It is still here on YouTube. Share it around in your socials. You never know who will bump into this message, and it might be the next step that it might be that step that takes them to the next level. I really appreciate. And ladies and gentlemen, yes, I can see also Nathaniel saying thank you, waiting for the practical session. We will organize. If you're in any of the WhatsApp group or you have or registered for this session, probably you'll get a notification when we plan for that. But we really appreciate. Thank you very much, Martin. Any last word as we
Daniel,
finish? Yes.
yeah, I was hoping you would say that because I was trying to use this as my microphone. Really want to drop the mic with this one. So there's this. I want to appreciate someone by the name Andy Fledra, who was also stood with me in terms of just learning a lot of what I've learned. Just thought
Mhm.
it's important. But there's this comment I was given once by Isaiah Oyugi, and he said that there is no competition in the extra mile, and that's where I dropped my mic.
Thank you. Until next time, we are out. Bye bye.
Bye bye.